talk about here. But yeah, that's, because I guess part of the introduction, what I read, you're supposed to give some tidbits about the person you're introducing that he probably will not tell about himself. One of those things is, we have gone out to eat with Carl several times. Now, he didn't do it tonight, but last time we were here, he ordered a salad with arugula, and I think it was a burger or something with that.
Wait a minute, we thought you were doing.
And to the waiter or waitress, he asked, and you may have some friends who do this all the time too, we usually wait and let them order last because they're always going to try to change things up. What he said was, I'm going to have I'm going to have that burger, I'm going to have a side salad with the arugula and the asparagus. But that arugula, do you think I could change that to a burrito? That's No, I won't waste a whole lot of time. I'm hoping, and I hope I'm not, what is it, what do you call that, spoiler alert? I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but I hope you will, Carl, I hope you will talk to us a lot about that time you got abducted into this alien spacecraft with a probe. And if you can't remember, I've got a hypnotist I can schedule. But as you know, Carl, interesting. These are some words that would interesting, God-fearing, good-looking, sense of humor. Now, these are just words that would describe me. That really, they do describe Carl. There's a lot more words I could use too, like well-read. Well, I don't want to take up a lot of his time because, you know, we're already running. Thank you, Carl. Come on up here.
Thank you, Joe, for that strange introduction. Somebody says, why don't you get somebody more normal than Joe? And I said, he'll be all right. I should have listened.
More normal.
About 60 years ago, my mother put together for me a scrapbook or two. And I haven't opened it but 3 times in 60 years. And I thought, why not tonight? They're on the table here, and when we're done, if anybody would like to look at them. And then we've got some pictures of family like most of us do. So, and I'll stand up here and answer whatever questions you might have.
No, we can't hear back
Oh, I
here.
gotta get closer. Like this?
I think you have to put your mouth
Yeah,
right
I'm
on
thinking
it.
it's not on.
It's not on.
Okay.
No, it's
Gotta get
on.
really close.
Microphone. Tilt it down towards you a little bit.
Yeah, pull it towards you.
Toward down, maybe?
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
It was for sure.
Okay.
Squeal like a pig. Well, it's a lot for
I can't read this.
Okay.
I don't have coronavirus, I know I have my own phone.
That's good to know.
Well,
Leah, can the lights be turned up?
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just a little bit different.
Have a look at it now.
No, we can do that.
oh, thanks, man, I can see.
That's good, thank you.
Well, this all begins with 2 good parents, and I want to tell you more about them. Let's start with Mom. Mom was first generation Italian. Mom and Dad both were unorthodox, but at the time selfless parents, completely selfless. And Mom was the glue of the family. She knew all things and kind of commanded all things. Her kindness was unmatched. Mom was a gambler. If there was a highlight match going on, she was there. Dog tracks attention, brought her attention. And the way she bet on the dogs was that if there was any dog that relieved himself on the way to the post, she thought that dog had an advantage, and so that's the way she placed her bet. But anybody that would
Did it work?
I don't know. Well, you know, most of the years she came out on top. She would never spend more than $20 going out there. And then she was a bookie for about the rest of the family. And so they'd all give her money to send her out to the dog track. And then Highlight came to town, and she would find out who the best looking guy out there was. And of course, he got the best bid. To Mom, everything was funny, even your mistakes. And I got to tell you a couple of Mom stories. Around the dinner table, there was always a need to talk about manners. And Mom would say, you know, eat over your plate, bring the food up to your mouth, don't reach, etc., etc. And one evening, we were sitting at the table. My brother was only 5 at the time, and he was playing with a string bean that was cut lengthwise, and it was on the end of his spoon. And he wasn't even looking up, and all of a sudden he flicked that thing. Went across the table and hit Mom on the side of the head. That's not the funny part. The funny part was she didn't know it. And as she continued to badger us, it started to leak. And it would leak down into her eye. My sister about this time was about to explode with laughter. But, and my brother, boy, he didn't know what was going to happen to him. And I just was stunned. Mom, you don't do that to Mom. When Mom finally found out, she thought that was the funniest thing that ever happened. And she told all of her girls at the Catholic circle, you know, whatnot. And another quick story about Mom. My brother went to high school on a football scholarship. It was illegal, but that's what happened at the Catholic school. You know, it was $15 a month, but private school. But if you played on the football team, that was a race. So we got a little scholarship to go. But he had to have creases in his pants every morning. And so Mom didn't like that. And eventually when Miles said, that crease is in there wrong, she had enough. And her favorite weapon, her choice of weapons was the broom. You know, she's trying to handle 2 big guys, me and my brother. And so she reaches for the broom, but at the same time Miles reaches for the door. So Miles heads down across the sidewalk and up the street. Mom's right behind him. She's got her hair in curlers that were this big, you remember those curlers? And her old house coat on, pair of slippers, and she's running up the street. And she gets to about the second house, and she realizes, this is bad. She stops abruptly, and she hightails it back to the house. Well, my brother comes back later, and he didn't know whether to come in the door or not. But Mom's in there laughing about her mistake. That was Mom. If there was a mistake made by anybody, it was me. It was serious at first, but it was always laughter later. Mom was the banker for the family. If you looked under every rug in the house, you'll find money. And my sister and her 4 kids always were banked with Mom. But the problem was Mom wouldn't let them have the money when they asked for it. And so if somebody came in, like my niece Katrina would say, I'm going to buy some camping stuff. And Mom says, no, you're not. Of course, that was her money. But that's how it went at the house. Mom was an artist. She won a scholarship for her painting when she was in high school, but of course, being from an Italian family, women don't go to college, and she didn't. Mom was a good singer, and many mornings I woke up, you know, hearing her voice, smelling the bacon, but she never got the words right. You know, she'd know all the popular songs up to a point, and then she'd get lost, and then she'd just throw in the words. She would cook anything for you as long as it was Italian. And one story, I was down at a convention in Miami with these 2 fellows. One was a very beloved department chairman for physical education at Florida State. And the other fellow was a bigger man. And he had just been selected as the new president of the National Association of Health, Physical Education, and Recreation. And I was at the convention, and of course we're all going back to Tallahassee together, and I called Mom, I said, we're going to stop over and have a little lunch with you, visit with you.
In Daytona.
In Daytona, on the way back up to Tallahassee. So she liked to have the spaghetti over, make it one day, eat it the next. And then she put in meatballs the size of tennis balls. And so her home was very, very modest. In fact, it was the summer home for the Colt family. It was up in Hartford, manufacturers of the firearms, Colts. But it was a very modest home. And so we have these two fellows eating there with Mom, and she's keeping their plates loaded with food. And so later we were talking in the kitchen, and Mom says, you know, the little guy can put it away. That was her way of saying, he's a big ear. And then she says to me, the big guy, he's not very smart, is he? I said, Mom, I think he's smart. And she says, he doesn't know oregano from salt.
He doesn't know what?
Oregano
Oregano.
from
Oh,
salt.
salt.
So Mom already had him, pegged. Not very smart. Okay, then there's my dad, and he is a story in and of himself. Dad was a storyteller, an entertainer. He loved to entertain people with his stories. He used to say something, a lot of silly stuff, but he'd say, last time I was out with the missus is when the furnace blew up. And then he'd say, nobody caught that. And where there's a will, there's a relative. And I always wanted to be a short order cook, but I was too tall.
So,
Ever hear that one? So I'd expect that kind of thing out of my dad all the time. He was always silly. I heard him say one time, he's yelling at my mom who was in the kitchen. She says, he would say, Florence, open the windows, I'm going to throw out my chest. I had a friend one time, he met him, said, how are you? And Dad says, that's where I want to go. And I looked at him so stunned. He says, it's an island, kid, it's an island. Hawaii. One quick story about Dad. For much of his life, Dad was a blue-collar worker. And early when I was just a kid, at 4 or 5 years of age, he drove the beer truck for Slits. And we were very poor people. Well, we were, I guess all of us were very poor one time. But I remember my brother asking me, he says, do you remember when we were poor? And I said, I don't remember being poor. And that's because we had these two parents who just gave all they could to their kids. But Dad was driving the beer truck, and the seat of his pants getting in and out of the beer truck got very thin. And so and Mom says, I'm going to save some money, you're going to get some pants. So she saved $5.25, which at that point would have bought a pair of trousers at Montgomery Ward. And in Daytona, you had to go through the back of the store because there's no parking in the front. So Dad brought me with him, and that was a mistake. Because I was just a kid, I was maybe 5, and passing through to get to the clothing store, you had to go through the toy shop. And I saw a tricycle there that I liked. And so I got on that tricycle, I was going up and down the aisles. And guess what I came home with that night? And Mom says to Dad, she says, what color pants did you buy? He says, red, with a white stripe. And she says, let me see those pants. Well, it was my tricycle. Another interesting thing about that is the young man who put the tricycle together for me was Stan Musial. Who was, I guess, he was playing Class D baseball for the Islanders, which was the Daytona team.
Wow.
And later Dad got to be good friends with him. Dad got to meet a lot of interesting people. He met Dillinger one time. He met Rocky Colavito, Willie Pep. You folks will remember some of these old fighters, but they just kind of crossed his life, and he knew all the stories, and we heard all the stories.
Dillinger was the fighter?
No, he was John.
John did.
Yeah. Dad was a night clerk at a hotel in Daytona, and Dillinger and about 4 big black cars pulled up. And one of the cars went ahead, made the reservations. They took the top floor, and one car stayed below, another guy stayed in the lobby. Dillinger went up the top, and it was reported the next day what happened. And they chased him down to the inlet, which separated New Smyrna from Daytona. And the police knew about it, but they didn't want to go down and face him. So he stayed right there, nobody challenged him. And later he left. One quick story about Dad. He was so supportive of me. One time I had to go to a basketball game, and I guess I was about 9th grade, and I had a paper out at the same time. And I would, you know, I had to be at the paper route, and I had to be at the ball game. I didn't get to play that often, so I thought I was gonna play. And so Dad says, I'll take your route for you. And I had second thoughts about that, but I couldn't find anybody else. So I coaxed Dad, we went around the route once or twice and told him, you know, who was a Sunday only, who was, you know, evening only, who was accommodation. And so usually I got one complaint a month, and it cost me 35 cents. That day, when Dad did that, he had like 15 complaints. But I loved him for it. He was something else. Okay, so